Welcome back. So we've now logged into the VM that's going to serve as the management server for our Azure AD domain services. Essentially, we'll use this to install the Active Directory tools that we can use to manage the burkspikes.com domain in Azure ADDS. Now, what I typically do in a lab environment, and let me just close this out here. What I typically do in a lab environment is perform some basic housekeeping within the OS itself. Some of it is going to be iffy to some of you security conscious folks, but again, this is a lab, and what I'm trying to do is teach you how to perform a task, and that task is to get Windows Virtual Desktop deployed in Azure. What I don't want is to have to fight through issues that crop up due to overbearing security. So what I typically do with this management server is I'll go into local server here, and what we'll do is turn off the Windows firewall. And to do that, we go down into advanced here, and then we'll open it up. And basically I set the domain, private, and public profiles all to off. Now, if you want to leave these on from a security perspective, feel free. But I leave them off while I'm trying to work through a lab, because if I run into a problem with a lab, I don't want to have to wonder if it has something to do with Windows Firewall that's causing me grief. So I turn it off. Again, I'm not deploying this in a production environment. It's a lab here that I can work with. So I'm trying to convey the concepts of WVD rather than a whole bunch of security concepts in this course. So your mileage may vary. I like to keep that turned off just so I know I'm not breaking anything of mine. And the same thing goes for the IE Enhanced Security configuration. If I have to get to any websites, I don't want any weird IE prompts coming up, so I usually turn this off as well. And then the last thing I do here is set the time zone. And there we go. Now, at this point, what we'll do is join this management server to the burkspikes.com domain. And to do that, we simply, it's no different than joining a local domain. We click on Workgroup here, we change it, and then in the domain here, we simply type in burkspikes.com. Obviously, your domain is going to be whatever you've registered, but we'll go ahead and OK this. Now, in this Windows security box here for computer name and domain changes, what we need to do is enter the name and password of an account that has permissions to join the domain. This is what we created the AADDS admin account for earlier. This is going to be the account we use to join our machine to the domain and to perform any kind of management later on if we want to. So I'm going to paste this in here. Not twice, just once. So we're going to log in with AADDS admin at burkspikes.com. And now the password we provide here, remember when we force the sync of the password hash, we changed the password for this account from whatever the initial one was that you set. So keep in mind that it's the second password that you entered in when you set that hash. So keep that in mind when you log in here. And then we'll OK this, and we can see we're welcomed to the burkspikes.com domain. We'll close this out, and then we'll restart. Now, this is restarting because the VM is being made into a domain member, and that's what happens when you join a machine to a domain. Now, what we'll do is we'll log back into this VM, but this time we're going to log in with our AADDS admin account, because now this is a domain machine, so we can log in with the domain admin account. I'll drag it over. Now what we're going to do here is install the Active Directory tools so we can use them to manage our burkspikes domain. So what we'll do from the dashboard here is go up into Manage, and we'll add roles and features. We'll next it. We'll next through again for installation type. Server selection, we only have one. Now, this isn't a server role that we're going to install, so we're going to next through this. It's actually a feature, and if you scroll down, it's under Remote Server Administration Tools. If you expand it out and you expand the role administration tools here, you can see you have the ADDS and ADLDS tools, and that's what we're going to install. We'll next it and we'll install it. Now what this will do is install our Active Directory tools, and then what we'll do is once this completes here, we'll open up ADUC so we can confirm we can access the burkspikes.com domain using the Active Directory tools from this management server. And we can see installation has succeeded, so we'll close this out. And then what we'll do is go into Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers, just like a typical on-prem AD. And now when you expand this out, you'll see the AADDC computers, users, domain admin, all the information relevant to the Azure AD domain services. If we open up AADDC computers, we can see our management server is part of the Active Directory. And if we open up AADDC users, we can see our Mike McDermott account, our Lester Murphy, the Burks Bikes. We can even see the external account that was part of my subscription because that's what I used to provision it. And then we have the AADDS admin account. So with that, we can confirm that our management server can access our Azure Active Directory domain services using the typical Active Directory tools. So we'll call it a wrap here. And in the next section, we are going to prepare the networking components for the actual deployment of Windows Virtual Desktop.